Welcome back to Stoic Spirit, the channel dedicated to exploring the wisdom of Stoicism and applying its principles to modern life. In this video, we're tackling a topic that might seem counterintuitive: the potential downsides of excessive kindness. We're constantly told to be kind and prioritize others. It's a virtue, a cornerstone of a good life, right? But is there a point where kindness becomes too much? Can excessive generosity actually backfire and be detrimental to our own well-being? Think about it. How many times have you felt drained, resentful, or even taken advantage of after going above and beyond for someone else? In a world that doesn't always reciprocate our good deeds, it's crucial to understand the subtle ways overextending ourselves can lead to burnout, resentment, and even put us at risk. We'll explore the often overlooked dangers of excessive kindness, examining 8 specific ways it can backfire and sabotage your peace of mind. But don't worry, we won't just leave you with the problem. Drawing inspiration from Stoic philosophy, we'll also reveal 4 powerful strategies to protect yourself from being taken advantage of. Maintain healthy boundaries and cultivate a balanced approach to kindness that benefits both yourself and others. So, if you're ready to discover the wisdom of balanced giving and learn how to be kind without sacrificing your own well-being, stick around. Let's dive in. 1. Unrealistic expectations. The first way excessive kindness can backfire is by fostering unrealistic expectations. Stoicism, at its core, emphasizes accepting reality as it is, without embellishment or wishful thinking. This includes accepting human nature, with all its complexities and imperfections. A core tenet of Stoic practice is giving without expecting anything in return. This cultivates emotional detachment, not indifference, but a healthy separation from the outcomes of our actions. It allows us to act virtuously without being emotionally swayed by whether or not our kindness is reciprocated. This detachment fosters a calmer mind, free from the anxieties of expectation. However, human nature being what it is, it's difficult to maintain this pure, detached giving over extended periods, especially when we're consistently pouring ourselves out for others. Subconsciously, and often without even realizing it, we begin to develop expectations of reciprocity. We might not expect a grand gesture in return, but we might anticipate a simple thank you, a recognition of our efforts, or a similar act of kindness down the line. This isn't necessarily a conscious, calculated expectation, but rather a subtle emotional undercurrent that develops over time. The problem is, these unspoken expectations set us up for disappointment. When our acts of kindness aren't met with the response we anticipated, we feel let down, resentful, even betrayed. We start to question the other person's character, labeling them ungrateful or inconsiderate. We might even question our own judgment, wondering why we bothered in the first place. This cycle of giving, expecting, and being disappointed can be incredibly draining, eroding our sense of self-worth and turning acts of kindness into sources of frustration. The key here is to remember that people aren't necessarily letting you down when they don't reciprocate your kindness in the way you expected. They're simply prioritizing their own needs, dealing with their own challenges, and navigating life according to their own values and priorities. And just as you are entitled to prioritize your own well-being, so are they. This doesn't excuse rudeness or blatant disregard for your feelings, but it does provide a more stoic perspective on the situation. By understanding that people are not obligated to reciprocate our kindness, we can free ourselves from the trap of unrealistic expectations and cultivate a more genuine, detached, and ultimately more sustainable approach to giving. Number 2, creating entitlement. Another way excessive kindness can backfire is by inadvertently creating a sense of entitlement in others. Stoicism places a high value on acting with reason and virtue, making decisions based on principles rather than emotional impulses or the desire to please others. This emphasis on reasoned action encourages us to consider the long-term consequences of our choices, not just their immediate impact. Moderation and balanced giving are key to maintaining control over our actions and preserving our mental health. we must be mindful of how our actions, even those rooted in good intentions, might affect others and ourselves in the long run. A fundamental aspect of human behavior is our ability to adapt to patterns. We become accustomed to routines, expectations, and the dynamics of our relationships. This adaptability is usually beneficial, helping us navigate the world efficiently. However, when it comes to receiving consistent and excessive kindness, this adaptability can create a sense of entitlement. If you constantly give, going above and beyond what is reasonable or necessary, people will come to expect that level of generosity as the norm. They become reliant on you, unconsciously assuming you will always be there to pick up the slack, solve their problems, or cater to their needs. This reliance can lead to a neglect of their own responsibilities. Why bother developing problem-solving skills or taking initiative if someone is always there to step in and take care of things? This dynamic creates a dependency that isn't healthy for either party. You become burdened with the weight of their expectations, and they become stunted in their own growth and development. Furthermore, this created entitlement often extends beyond the initial acts of kindness. They may start to feel entitled to your time, your energy, and even your emotional resources, making demands without considering your own needs or limitations. The Stoic approach emphasizes the importance of valuing yourself first. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. It's recognizing that you have a finite amount of time, energy, and emotional capacity, and that you have a responsibility to manage these resources wisely. Setting healthy boundaries is crucial, but those boundaries will be meaningless if you don't respect them yourself. If you consistently prioritize others' needs above your own, if you constantly override your own limits to please or accommodate others, you're sending a clear message. Your needs are secondary. Your boundaries are negotiable. And others, even subconsciously, will pick up on this message and treat you accordingly. They won't respect your boundaries if you don't demonstrate that you respect them yourself. Therefore, a crucial aspect of practicing balanced kindness is recognizing your own worth and establishing firm, respectful boundaries that protect your well-being while still allowing you to be generous and supportive in a sustainable way. Number 3, neglecting your own goals. Excessive kindness can also lead to neglecting your own goals and aspirations. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of prioritizing our own responsibilities and living by reason and virtue. This doesn't mean neglecting others, but it does mean recognizing that we have a primary duty to ourselves to cultivate our character, pursue our purpose, and live a life aligned with our values. Maintaining this balance between self-care and care for others is essential for overall well-being. However, when we fall into the trap of excessive kindness, constantly prioritizing others' needs above our own, we risk sacrificing our own growth and fulfillment. We put our own projects on hold, postpone our dreams, and neglect our personal development in the name of helping others. While this might seem noble in the short term, it can lead to a deep sense of inner turmoil and emptiness in the long run. We begin to lose touch with our own aspirations. Our sense of purpose fades, and we may even develop resentment towards those we are trying to help. This neglect of self isn't sustainable. It's like running on an empty tank, constantly giving without replenishing your own reserves. Eventually, you'll burn out, exhausted and depleted, unable to give to anyone, including yourself. Stoicism recognizes that true strength and virtue come from a place of inner balance and well-being. We cannot effectively help others if we are neglecting our own needs and sacrificing our own well-being in the process. Self-care, therefore, is not selfish. It's a crucial component of a virtuous and fulfilling life. It's about recognizing that you are your own responsibility, and that taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional health is not a luxury, but a necessity. It's about prioritizing activities that nourish your soul, pursuing your passions, and setting aside time for reflection and rejuvenation. The metaphor of filling your own cup before trying to fill others perfectly captures this principle. You cannot pour from an empty cup, By prioritizing your own well-being, you are not only strengthening yourself, but also enhancing your capacity to give to others in a sustainable and meaningful way. You become a source of strength and support, not from a place of depletion, but from a place of fullness and inner peace. Number 4, appearing weak. Paradoxically, excessive helpfulness can sometimes be perceived as a weakness, rather than a strength. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of developing inner strength and self-reliance. This doesn't mean rejecting help or refusing to support others, but it does mean cultivating the ability to manage our own lives effectively and take responsibility for our own well-being. Setting limits, practicing self-discipline, and making choices based on reason and virtue are all essential components of Stoic strength. These qualities, in turn, earn respect, both from ourselves and from others. However, when we consistently overextend ourselves in an attempt to be helpful, we can inadvertently project an image of weakness. People may perceive our excessive helpfulness as a lack of boundaries, a desperate need for approval, or an inability to prioritize our own needs. This perception can make us vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation. People might take advantage of our willingness to please, offloading their responsibilities onto us, knowing that we are unlikely to say no. They might even create unnecessary drama or crises, knowing that we will rush in to rescue them, further reinforcing the dynamic of dependence and control. This dynamic can be particularly damaging in professional settings. Constantly volunteering for extra tasks, covering for colleagues, or taking on responsibilities that are not your own can lead to burnout, resentment, and a lack of recognition for your own contributions. It can also signal to your superiors that you are not confident in your own abilities or that you are not prioritizing the most important tasks. Learning to say no is therefore essential for regaining control and earning respect. Saying no is not selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. It's about recognizing your own limits and prioritizing your own well-being. It's about communicating clearly and respectfully that you are not available or willing to take on additional responsibilities. While it might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to saying yes to everything, practicing the art of saying no will ultimately empower you to manage your time and energy more effectively. Focus on your own priorities and build healthier, more balanced relationships by setting clear boundaries and prioritizing your own needs. You project an image of strength and self-respect, which in turn earns the respect of others. Number 5, attracting but people. Excessive kindness, while well-intentioned, can sometimes attract the wrong kind of people into our lives. Stoicism emphasizes wisdom and discernment, the ability to make sound judgments and choose our actions wisely. This includes being selective about who we choose to help and invest our time and energy in. While compassion and generosity are important virtues, we must also exercise prudence and caution, recognizing that not everyone deserves our unwavering support. Excessive kindness can act as a magnet for individuals who are primarily interested in taking advantage of others. These are the but people, the ones who suddenly appear only when they need something. They might be charming and persuasive, showering you with compliments and flattery when they require assistance. But their interest quickly wanes once their needs have been met. Their requests often come with a but attached. I know you're busy, but I hate to ask, but I wouldn't normally do this. But these buts are often a subtle attempt to manipulate your sense of obligation and guilt you into helping them. These individuals are skilled at identifying and exploiting the vulnerabilities of excessively kind people. They recognize your reluctance to say no, your eagerness to please, and your tendency to prioritize others' needs above your own. They see your kindness not as a virtue, but as an opportunity for personal gain. These opportunistic relationships can be incredibly draining, leaving you feeling used, resentful, and emotionally exhausted. Learning to differentiate genuine connections from opportunistic relationships is crucial for protecting your well-being. Genuine connections are characterized by reciprocity, mutual respect, and a shared sense of support, Both parties contribute to the relationship, offering help and encouragement without keeping score or expecting anything in return. Opportunistic relationships, on the other hand, are one-sided. The person takes and takes, offering little or nothing in return. They drain your energy, exploit your kindness, and leave you feeling depleted. Developing Stoic discernment involves paying attention to patterns of behavior, recognizing red flags, and trusting your intuition. If someone consistently appears only when they need something, if their requests are always accompanied by a sense of urgency or manipulation, or if you consistently feel drained and used after interacting with them, it might be time to reevaluate the relationship, prioritizing genuine connections, while setting boundaries with those who seek to take advantage, is a crucial step in protecting your well-being and ensuring that your kindness is directed towards those who genuinely deserve it. Number 6, lowering your vibrational energy. The concept of vibrational energy, while not explicitly mentioned in Stoic texts, aligns with the Stoic emphasis on maintaining inner balance and cultivating positive emotions. Stoicism encourages building healthy, mutually beneficial relationships through patient judgment and a clear understanding of human nature. While the term vibrational energy might sound esoteric, it essentially refers to our overall emotional state and the kind of energy we project into the world. Just as our physical health impacts our energy levels, so too does our emotional well-being. The principle of like attracts like suggests that our dominant emotional state tends to attract similar energies into our lives. When we are filled with positive energy, joy, gratitude, and a sense of purpose, we tend to attract positive experiences and relationships. Conversely, when we are constantly depleting our energy through excessive giving, neglecting our own needs, and allowing ourselves to be drained by others, we create a void within ourselves. This void can attract negativity and opportunistic individuals who are drawn to our vulnerability and willingness to give, often without reciprocity. Excessive kindness, when not balanced with self-care and healthy boundaries, can lead to emotional exhaustion, resentment, and a general sense of depletion. This lowered vibrational energy makes us more susceptible to negativity. We become more easily irritated, more prone to anxiety and depression, and less able to cope with life's challenges. This vulnerability, in turn, can attract individuals who thrive on negativity, drama queens, energy vampires, and those who seek to manipulate or control others. They are drawn to our weakened state, sensing an opportunity to exploit our kindness and further drain our energy. From a Stoic perspective, protecting our energy is essential for maintaining inner peace and cultivating virtue. This doesn't mean becoming emotionally detached or isolating ourselves from others. It means being mindful of how we expend our emotional resources, setting healthy boundaries, and choosing our relationships wisely. It means prioritizing activities that nourish our minds and bodies, cultivating positive emotions, and focusing on what we can control, our own thoughts, actions, and responses to external events. By maintaining a healthy emotional state, we not only protect ourselves from negativity, but also create a positive feedback loop, attracting more positive experiences and relationships into our lives. Number 7, risk of developing unhealthy coping mechanisms. Excessive kindness, paradoxically, can sometimes lead to the development of unhealthy coping mechanisms. Stoicism places a high value on self-control, balanced action, and living in accordance with nature. This means recognizing our limits, managing our impulses, and avoiding excesses that can harm our physical and mental well-being. However, when we constantly deplete ourselves through excessive giving, neglecting our own needs, and failing to set healthy boundaries, we create a void within ourselves. This void can manifest as a persistent sense of emptiness, anxiety, or dissatisfaction, which we might attempt to fill with unhealthy coping mechanisms. These coping mechanisms can take many forms, including overeating, excessive drinking, gambling, compulsive shopping, or excessive screen time. These behaviors provide a temporary sense of relief or distraction from the underlying emotional pain, but they ultimately exacerbate the problem. They create a vicious cycle of depletion and unhealthy coping, further eroding our self-esteem and undermining our ability to manage our lives effectively. Stoicism teaches us that true fulfillment comes not from external pleasures or distractions, but from cultivating inner strength, virtue, and a sense of purpose. This involves confronting our challenges directly, rather than trying to escape them through unhealthy behaviors. It means acknowledging our emotions, understanding their root causes, and developing healthy strategies for managing them. It's important to recognize that unhealthy coping mechanisms are often a sign of deeper emotional distress. They are a cry for help, a signal that something is out of balance in our lives. If you find yourself relying on unhealthy behaviors to cope with stress, anxiety, or feelings of emptiness, it's essential to seek support. This might involve talking to a trusted friend or family member, seeking professional guidance from a therapist or counselor, or engaging in self-reflection and journaling to explore the underlying causes of your distress. Heed the concerns of loved ones who notice these patterns. They might be the first to recognize that you are struggling and offer valuable insights into your behavior. While it can be difficult to accept criticism, even from those who care about us, it's important to be open to their feedback and consider their perspectives. Their concern is often a reflection of their genuine care and a desire to see you thrive. By acknowledging the problem and seeking support, you can break free from the cycle of unhealthy coping and begin the journey towards healing and self-discovery. Number 8, breeding suspicion. Another unintended consequence of excessive kindness is that it can sometimes breed suspicion and distrust, even when our intentions are pure. Stoicism encourages us to do good regardless of others' opinions, focusing on acting virtuously rather than seeking external validation. We should be motivated by a genuine desire to help others, not by a need for recognition or praise. However, in a world where genuine altruism is sometimes rare, excessive kindness can paradoxically arouse suspicion. People might question your motives, assuming that there must be some ulterior motive behind your generosity. This suspicion can stem from several factors. Some people might simply be cynical or distrustful by nature, assuming that no one acts out of pure kindness. Others might project their own insecurities and motivations onto you, assuming that you must be seeking something in return. Even if you are not, they might suspect that you are trying to manipulate them, earn their favor, or create a sense of obligation. This suspicion can be particularly damaging in professional settings. Excessive helpfulness can be misinterpreted as trying to curry favor with superiors, undermine colleagues, or create a competitive advantage. It can also lead to accusations of being a people pleaser or lacking the assertiveness to prioritize important tasks. While it's impossible to control how others perceive us, we can minimize suspicion by being mindful of how our actions are interpreted. This involves being clear and upfront about our intentions, avoiding excessive flattery or ingratiation, and setting healthy boundaries to prevent being taken advantage of. It also means focusing on acting virtuously for its own sake, rather than being overly concerned with how others perceive our actions. True Stoic kindness comes from a place of inner strength and integrity, not from a desire for external validation. By focusing on acting with reason and virtue, we can minimize suspicion and cultivate genuine connections based on trust and mutual respect. 4 Stoic strategies to protect yourself. Now that we've explored the potential pitfalls of excessive kindness, let's discuss some practical Stoic strategies for protecting yourself, setting healthy boundaries, and cultivating a more balanced approach to giving. Strategy 1. Cultivate self-awareness. Stoicism places a high value on introspection, the practice of examining your own thoughts, emotions, and motivations. Self-awareness is the foundation of a virtuous life, allowing you to understand your own strengths and weaknesses, identify your values, and make choices aligned with your true self. Pay attention to your feelings when you help others. Are you genuinely happy to contribute? Or are you motivated by a sense of obligation, a need for approval, or a fear of saying no? If helping others consistently leaves you feeling drained, resentful, or burned out, it's a clear sign that you need to reevaluate your boundaries. Your feelings are valuable data points, providing insights into your emotional state and the impact of your actions. Don't ignore them. Use them as a guide to navigate your relationships and make choices that support your well-being. Strategy 2. Harness the power of no. Saying no can be challenging, especially for those inclined towards excessive kindness. We often fear disappointing others, damaging relationships, or appearing selfish. However, Stoicism emphasizes self-control, the ability to manage our impulses and make choices based on reason and virtue, not on fear or social pressure. Saying no is not an act of selfishness. It's an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your time, energy, and emotional resources. It's about prioritizing your own needs and commitments, recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Saying no prevents overwhelm, resentment, and the feeling of being taken advantage of. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, your own well-being and the commitments you have already made. Start small. Practice saying no to minor requests, gradually building your confidence and assertiveness. You don't need to offer elaborate excuses or justifications. A simple, polite, "I'm not able to do that right now," is often sufficient. Strategy 3. Protect your time and space. Stoicism emphasizes self-discipline and self-respect. Just as we schedule time for work, appointments, and other commitments, we must also schedule dedicated time for ourselves, for activities that nourish our minds and bodies, for relaxation, rejuvenation, and the pursuit of our own goals and interests. This time is non-negotiable. It's an investment in your well-being, a recognition that you are your own responsibility. This dedicated time could involve anything from reading, exercising, or spending time in nature to pursuing creative hobbies, meditating, or simply enjoying some quiet solitude. Politely but firmly decline requests that infringe on this time. Explain that you have prior commitments, without feeling obligated to elaborate or apologize. Protecting your time and space is not selfish. It's essential for maintaining balance, preventing burnout, and ensuring that you have the energy and resources to give to others in a sustainable way. Strategy 4. Identify and distance from energy vampires. Stoicism emphasizes wisdom in relationships, recognizing that not all relationships are created equal. Some relationships nourish and uplift us, while others drain our energy and leave us feeling depleted. Identify the energy vampires in your life, the individuals who constantly take, complain, and create drama without offering anything positive in return. These individuals might be friends, family members, colleagues, or even acquaintances. They are often skilled at manipulating your emotions, playing the victim, and making you feel responsible for their well-being. Distancing yourself from these individuals is not selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your emotional well-being and creating space for healthier, more balanced relationships. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting them out of your life entirely, but it does mean setting firm boundaries, limiting your interactions, and refusing to be drawn into their negativity. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, who support your growth and celebrate your successes. By cultivating healthy relationships, you create a positive feedback loop, enhancing your well-being and enabling you to give to others from a place of strength and abundance. In conclusion, as we've seen, Stoicism teaches us that balance is key in all aspects of life, and kindness is no exception. Excessive kindness, while seemingly virtuous, can be just as detrimental to our well-being as outright selfishness. Constantly pouring from an empty cup leaves us depleted, resentful, and vulnerable. True kindness, the kind that empowers both the giver and the receiver, comes from a place of inner strength, balance, and healthy boundaries. Strive for that middle ground, the golden mean. as the Stoics called it, where you prioritize your own well-being while still extending kindness and compassion to others. Remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's essential for living a virtuous and fulfilling life. It allows you to contribute to the world from a place of abundance, not depletion. Internalize the power of no. It's a simple word, but it holds immense power to protect your time, energy, and emotional resources. Use it wisely and without guilt. Protect your energy like the precious resource it is. Be mindful of how you expend it, and choose your relationships and commitments wisely. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of balanced kindness through the lens of Stoicism. I hope you found these insights valuable. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit from this message. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Stoic Spirit for more videos on practical Stoicism, self-improvement, and living a life of wisdom and virtue. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new uploads. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember to cultivate kindness, but also the wisdom to protect your own well-being.